Hey, welcome to the Go-To Therapist podcast. In today's show, we chat to Leon, who talks about his journey from a new grad therapist to working with a renowned therapist in Dublin, and how he has gone from seeing 4 to 5 patients a week to now having some weeks where he's seeing 30 patients. I hope you enjoy the show. Hey, welcome to episode number 16 of the Go-To Therapist Mentorship. Now, over the past 15 episodes, we've covered a lot of information, both higher level thinking and clinical applications. And what I want to do now over the next few episodes is actually talk to some therapists who are applying what I'm actually teaching, so to speak, in the podcast. Because one of the big things that I decided when I started the Pro Sport Academy and when I started the Go-To Therapist Mentorship was that everything I put out there, I wanted to be applicable and that you can get real world results. I didn't want to be one of these therapists who wanted to, get loads and loads of followers and sound smart. But actually the reality is, when you go into the real world, can you actually apply the information? And I think sometimes you can be controversial and you can get a lot of smoke and mirrors that go with it. But when the dust settles, can you actually walk the walk? Okay, can you walk the walk in the real world with real people when the pressure is on you? Okay, and again, in my scenario, I get tested time and time again, right down to the roles that I've just finished with England Rugby Union and the World Cup. That was an emotional roller coaster in some regards, and you get tested, you put yourself out there again and again. But as always, the thing that's the backbone of everything I do, it's the step-by-step system that we teach in the Go-To Therapist Mentorship. So in today's episode, I wanted to bring Leon on. Leon is one of many therapists who, when I see him post on the group, I see the transformation in the journey of his higher level critical thinking. It's amazing how far he's come in such a short space of time. And not only, as you'll hear in this episode, of kind of the practical implications of that, going from 4 or 5 patients a week to 30, but his mindset and his confidence and clarity. And it's a real pleasure. I know Leon listens to the podcast himself, which again is a testament to his hunger to better himself every single day. And again, I'm very, very proud of Leon's journey and Leon's story. So Leon has agreed to come on. Shane, who's the lead coach inside the mentorship, he himself, along with myself, will help you and help you make sense of the content, answer any questions. And Shane, he's worked with me now for, I think it's well over 6 years. He's been a big part of growing the clinic. He's been there pretty much from day one when I've decided, right, I want to make a go of the private practice and, actually commit to it when I stopped my journey in professional sport full time. And Shane knows the system and the content inside out. He's been a big part of putting the actual system together and developing it. And Shane is day in, day out in the clinic, in the private practice, whereas obviously my role is a mix between pro sport and private practice. So that's again one of the big values in the mentorship, is you not only have myself in there, but obviously Shane is in there teaching as well. And some people can't get their head around how can you use stuff that you use in professional sport and private practice. Well, don't take my word for it, don't take Shane's word for it, take these therapists who you're going to hear in the coming episodes who are actually doing that right now. And as I said, you'll see videos out there, you might see clips of professional athletes using this stuff. And I know Leon actually mentions in his story here how some of the exercises they look very easy, but they're very challenging, but the patient can succeed and see the benefit of them. And they're the exact same exercise we use with professional athletes. And if you want to know why that is, then obviously I'd recommend going back to the previous episode number 15, where we talked about the 6 principles of deliberate practice for every rehab exercise. So the past 15 exercises, what you're going to hear in the coming episodes, is really how people are applying this information now. And I think that's very important as well, where we don't get too caught up on theory, but how do we actually apply all the information of the past 15 episodes. So without further ado, let's hand you over to Leon and Shane as he tells his story to Shane. And then I'll see you at the end of the episode again, where I'm going to highlight just a couple of key points to pick out to hopefully just maybe reflect, and also just make you maybe aware of those, and hopefully you can reflect and implement into your clinical practice as well. Okay, so without further ado, let's introduce you to Shane, obviously, first and foremost, who's the first time on the podcast, and also to Leon.
So thanks to Leon for coming onto the podcast. So Leon's just recently gone through the whole mentorship program with us. So I suppose to start, Leon, if you want to just let everyone know a little bit about yourself, kind of where you started, what got you in, like before all the mentorship, what got you into physical therapy in the first place?
Yeah, so I started out, I suppose, 2007, 2009, finishing studies in kind of more sports science, strength and conditioning, nutrition, stuff like that. So I worked in that kind of field for almost 10 years, working with athletes and, people of all walks of life, trying to help them meet their goals. But I knew, I suppose, a few years into it, where I wanted to go was kind of more into the kind of physio aspect of things, and being able to treat conditions of all kind of walks of life. So I eventually went back to college, went through the degree, and that came out, qualified and all, and wanted to go straight into opening my own clinic, because I felt, I've done enough experience between clinics and that over the time. Huge passion was just to basically build a business and work out there in a clinic for myself. So I got a great opportunity then about 7-8 months ago with Physio Rooms in Dublin 15 through Paddy Cummins, who's absolutely brilliant at what he does as well. So we're working together now as well to further build the brand of Physio Rooms. But I suppose it goes back to around January last year or so. Kind of wanted to just further my knowledge. I heard great things about the mentorship. I was recommended by a friend, really to help kind of pinpoint and, come up with a good steady flow system that, can treat people, find the cause, and really help them get the results that they need. So didn't hesitate, kind of got in contact with yourselves over there in Huddersfield, and from there kind of haven't looked back.
Nice, cool.
All the while since, so it's great.
No, brilliant. And I've actually, just before the podcast, I was going through your application, when you first signed up. So just kind of to kind of refresh the brain a little bit, I think two of the things that you were looking for specifically was kind of help getting to the root cause of the problem. And I think also being able to explain pain science to patients in a way that they can understand and they can buy in without overwhelming them too much as well. So how have you found the mentorship has helped you with that, if it has?
Oh, totally. It's literally just gave absolute clarity on it. People are coming in, and I've always been an advocate of don't chase pain anyway. It was fed into us in college. It's just a symptom, always point the cause. With the kind of the training you get with the mentorship, it's kind of second to none to that. It helps you really understand, I suppose, more the neuroscience aspect of things, and how to apply practical neurology, and then from there find the true stressor and be able to give your patient an answer. And to me, that's key. Never mind a treatment plan. I find with people, if you can explain to them why there's something causing the issue, straight away they've nearly dull down the pain response anyway, because they feel now, great, I actually know what's causing this. Like this is a route to recovery now. I can begin to manage it. And then to follow that up, I mean, the kind of programming and rehab that comes with the mentorship it's not out there. There's no one doing that kind of stuff. It's absolutely brilliant. It just ties everything together, and you've got clarity, as I said, a step-by-step process, so that you can't really go wrong in a sense. Do you know what I mean? You can't stray too far wrong, and you're not overthinking things, because I've a habit to really complicate things at times and overthink things. I'm sure most of us are like that with the kind of training we go through, and you're always thinking the worst and trying to work your way back from there. But again, it's just with the mentorship, definitely get clarity.
Yeah, I think you made a really good point there, where like sometimes just giving people like a plan and let them know what the problem is and get a plan together of how you're going to get back. Like that's even more valuable sometimes than like getting them out of pain. Like that first session sometimes is reassuring them, look, I know what's happening, I know what's going on, your pain's because of this, and this is how we're going to get rid of it. And sometimes even without doing any hands-on in the first session, if you can just reassure them and tell them, look, I know what's happening, this is what we need to do, and get a plan together, they leave very, very happy after that. And I think a lot of therapists don't do that with the best intentions. I think we're trying to get the pain to go away as quick as possible, almost jumping straight on the bed, trying to desensitize symptoms. Whereas actually it's valuable to sit back a little bit, just explain it to them in an easy to understand way and give them a plan.
Exactly. And I don't really like to try and focus on pain much in here no more than yourselves. Try not mention the word. I was like,
Yeah.
what sensation are you experiencing, or that way? And if you can kind of, I suppose, get the brain away from associating pain, and particularly with a movement, and try and calm the person down, even with just breathing techniques, as you know yourself, it's just absolutely brilliant. And then you can work from there on in, and you don't rely too much on hands-on much anymore as well. Trying to desensitize, you find the right stressor, you can kind of desensitize and then load up the tissues fairly quickly, and at the right level that's good for that patient at the time, and build from there. So yeah, no, it's been absolutely fantastic. Like, it's just helped my brain kind of focus where it needs to focus as well.
Cool. And
High loads of clients coming in, and you're not getting overwhelmed either, which is great.
yeah, nice. Yeah, I suppose I think that same thing from the therapist's point of view. It's gets rid of that feeling of overwhelm when you have a process you can go through, no matter how simple or complex the problem is. You've got a process that's going to help you make sense of it yourself. So again, like, I'm the same myself. I remember even when I first started treating, and some of the cases come in, and sometimes you just panic straight away, and you do a bit of massage to try and desensitize it, but really you're thinking, yeah, I really don't know what's going on here. Whereas now, no matter how complicated it is, you've got a plan where you can kind of break it down, and not necessarily that you're going to find everything in the first session, but you've got a good plan where you can start to really narrow down what the main bulk of the problem is, and just chip away at all the different levels until you get the result with somebody. So I think that for me, that was definitely the most valuable thing since in my journey, definitely.
Yeah, I'd agree with you on that one, big time. Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So, and I suppose going back to before you started the mentorship, Leon, what were your biggest frustrations, I suppose, in terms of like your business and the clinic? Like what challenges were you meeting?
Yeah, so I suppose the biggest challenge you face, like I always try to keep up to date with evidence-informed practice and the latest science. So the biggest challenge I still find today is kind of dispel the myths that are out there, particularly around back pain and the fear of avoidance, the fear of movement and stuff that's been fed into us, and military postures and all this. So sometimes it can be quite frustrating and hard to try and reverse that pattern on people, and that slows down obviously the process here. And the client can get frustrated as well. But so I suppose it's kind of that was a big one at the start. But with the kind of clarity I suppose I've learned over the mentorship and some of the techniques through that, things have sped up now, and you can kind of refer to people, talk to them in just one-on-one, and say, well, look, movement isn't going to absolutely cause your back to explode or anything. We're going to take it to your level, and we're going to focus on breathing, and we're going to work in and out of this, and we're going to slowly progress, and blah blah blah. And they love it. They absolutely love it, because it's different. It's not just, oh, I was given this handout to strengthen my glutes, and to do this, and this, and it hasn't helped. And we're all guilty of falling into that, particularly early in our career. That's what we learned, and that's what we kind of the old ways of thinking was. But I suppose science is so caught up nowadays that it's progressing things on rapidly. And again, the mentorship just kind of nails a lot of that down, which is great. So again, just that clarity of how to deal with stubborn cases and issues that are being ongoing with a patient for a long time, and get your head around it is essential. So it keeps you calm in that environment, so you don't look like you're panicking to the patient as well. Because I suppose the last thing they want to see is coming in and then, oh my God, my physio doesn't know.
And they do read that. It's people read that off people. I know. When we get new therapists starting in the clinic here, that's always something that we need to overcome, because, and I know I was definitely like that when I started, and you panic and then you start talking really quickly, and you're trying to fly through, but you don't really know what's happening. And I think having that structure in your assessment where you can break it down yourself and get some clarity is really important. I think you made a good point again there about like dispelling myths and stuff like that, and that's always a challenge. And I think especially when somebody's been told something by like a consultant or a doctor, and in their own head, especially older patients, that almost hierarchy of who's right is very hard to overcome. And I think building trust is really important for that. And I'd hope to think the mentorship kind of allows you to do that and build trust a little bit more quickly by by getting kind of quick results and helping them make sense of the problem and almost being able to justify what you're telling them rather than just, this is my opinion. It's like, no, can you see this test? Can you see how that's a little bit like weak? Can you see how that's relating to your symptoms? And you're getting them involved with it recently, really, rather than just telling them something.
Because of the testing, and because of the process and the mentorship, like when you're actually telling someone what's wrong with them, because of you can relate it back to what you found, which is very hard to do with kind of a lot of the older school, outdated kind of tests that have minimal amount of evidence for them. You know what I mean? Where you're going on a kind of nearly a whim basis. But when you can combine everything together with what the mentorship teaches you, you have a leg to stand on, which is great. And like that, week in, week out, you're seeing progressions, and so is the client, which is, it's not normally what you see starting out so quickly, getting your head around things like that. So yeah, definitely brilliant.
Perfect. No, cool. And I suppose a lot of people listening to this podcast, Leon, will be maybe thinking about going on to the mentorship, or, that they'll be starting to get exposed to it a little bit. And I suppose when you first saw the mentorship, when you first came across it, did you have any doubts or any kind of worries before you came onto the course?
Yeah, of course. I mean, every course you do, I always research into it, and I mean, there's nothing but good reviews on it. But like anything, even like a product you buy, you're always going to have that doubt. It's always claiming to be the next best thing, and yeah, we can fix you in this and we can fix you with that. The mentorship doesn't really, I suppose, make them claims. It kind of it practices what it preaches, and I suppose it's got a great support system. It's more like one big family and community of therapists of all walks of life. And so you're kind of getting feedback off each other. It's like back in the day in college where you had study groups, and you're never going to get your head around everything. So it's great to have that fallback as well. But yeah, that's what I liked about it. It wasn't, sign up now and we're going to tell you how to fix everything. It was kind of like, we're going to show you this, we're going to show you that. We have a support structure in place. So it was absolutely brilliant in that sense, and that's what sold it to me, as opposed to, yeah, we're going to show you how to fix everything. Because I can't fix someone, I can educate them, and I think that's what leadership gets across, is we can educate you, to educate people, and help them live a better life. That's the key aspect, I think.
Yeah, I think on that point, I think that's a good point to make in terms of, I think it's valuable just having a community of people thinking in the same kind of wavelength in a room, like the refresher days, for example. Like the mentorship always gets updated after those days because people come in on, I've been trying it this way and then this has really worked for me, or I've come across this problem and this is how I've overcome it. And I'm sure Dave, when he gets back from Japan, I'm sure he'll have more things, and I'm sure a lot of things will get tweaked a little bit. And I think it's constantly evolving. It's not that like this is the only way to do things either, but it's fitting around what you do already yourself, and how hopefully that can, it's not a technique or anything like that. It's just a thought process in terms of a system, I suppose.
Exactly, yeah, and it's that having that in place, and I mean, science is constantly evolving, so we have to be open to evolve with it, and just be constantly open to learning. So if you open-minded, I guess you'll go places. And again, that's what I like about the mentorship. It's not anything set in stone. It's like, we've been using this technique for a while, found this actually works a little bit better, and then readapt. You know what I mean? There's no egos about, no, I'm right, you're wrong. It's, well, have you tried this? No, okay, try this. Did that work? Yeah, great. And it's kind of working together as that community, which is absolutely brilliant.
Go on.
I find vital for myself, obviously, I have Paddy, who's a lot of experience to kind of bounce cases off and work together on. But it's always great to have another fallback as well. You know what I mean? The tricky, stubborn cases that you can throw into the groups and stuff, and just get feedback on that, which is, again, essential, especially in just working by yourself,
Yeah, I think the community is massive. Yeah, and I think we're lucky at the moment that it's a very good community. Like you said, there's no egos. It's kind of just everybody's is willing to ask questions. Everyone's willing to answer questions, and I think that's probably the most valuable thing I think that we have really, is that community.
Definitely.
But yeah, so kind of how did you first find it then, Leon, when you first started the mentorship? I suppose like over your first 6 weeks, like in terms of the content, how easy was it to get through? And I suppose the big thing is, were you able to implement it from the videos, or was there a bit of a hurdle to get over there? How did you get on in the first like 6 weeks or so?
Yeah, so I suppose at first, because it is a little bit daunting, so I would say to people, stick with it. And I still review the content. I'm still learning from it. And as I said, you're constantly updating it. I'm learning new things. I'm figuring out new ways of testing and that as well, all based around what I've learned. So at first, yeah, it's a little bit different because, I mean, yeah, I suppose it's been fed into you in one way, what you learn throughout the years of study. And then the mentorship kind of challenges a few of them things. And it's great because it puts you out of your comfort zone. And you have to be able to step outside your comfort zone to learn. But with the videos and the way you guys explain it within the modules, like, you pick it up very, very quickly. And the more you use it, the more results you get, the more people are referred to you, therefore the more experience you're getting and the quicker you learn. And it's kind of just cyclical in that sense, as opposed to, all right, I just got to keep practicing and getting friends and family in to practice this, this, and this. Your business starts to grow word of mouth because once you learn the stuff, you can implement it, find out the true stressor, and then you're starting to adapt because you've seen a lot of stuff coming in and you're growing all the time. That gets more bodies in, gets you more experience, and then like that, the modules just start to make more and more sense over time. So yeah,
Nice.
very easy to follow. And you can take it at your own pace. It's not like college. Yeah, I've got exams coming up. I've got, practical exams. I've got to have this stuff nailed down. Again, the support structure, if you're struggling and, you send a quick message to yourselves and you're on it like lightning and like, yeah, look, we'll organize having a chat. So absolutely brilliant. The support system's key. You don't get that with many other courses. Do you know what I mean? So that's definitely very easy to learn and implement. But again, it takes time and commitment like anything, and stepping outside your comfort zone.
Definitely, yeah. And I think, like you said, I think it does challenge a lot of preconceived beliefs sometimes and kind of old ways of thinking, but challenging it in a good way, in terms of that you don't need to get rid of all the old stuff, but just think higher level of what are you actually seeing and what are you actually testing. I think, like for example, like the orthopedic tests and stuff, it's not that you don't do orthopedic tests, but it's okay, what are we actually assessing here, rather than assuming that an empty can test is a positive for supraspinatus. Like, what else has to happen? Is it a biceps issue, transverse plane, and those kind of things as well? So I think that's a good point to kind of emphasize, definitely.
Yeah, so it gives you more tools to work with the tools you have and
Yeah.
develop that and literally find out, well, why is that impinging and how can I treat it and how can I get quick results and then long-lasting results thereafter, because you don't want just quick results where the pain comes back, which can generally happen when you're first starting out. You can desensitize tissues and you think, right, I'll just load it up. And the person's not really ready to hit that high level of loading that we're so used to doing. We forget, I suppose, some of us who maybe train a bit and, we're kind of pain free. We forget that a lot of people can't actually do the higher level activities. And sometimes the really low level activities, which you forget about, are enough. And again, that the mentorship brings you right back to basics at times and shows you how effective it can be, and then brings you to advanced progressions, which is just essential because you can get your couch warrior from low level to nearly high level athletic stuff, and the pain goes away, and they're doing stuff that they never thought they could do. And I think that's what's vital. And again, there's not many systems in place like that, and it's something that I never thought I would be able to do with someone that has had chronic back pain for 10 years, who has an issue picking up kids or like that, putting plates into their press. Simple things in life you take for granted, and be able to bring them to such a high level of even single leg hopping, where they're like kids again, and they kind of their whole way of life changes. Again, I haven't learned that in other courses I've done, so it's been vital kind of progression list throughout the entire course is just brilliant. I've even fixed some of my own problems with the stuff, so it works.
That's the hardest thing to do as a therapist.
Hey, I hope you're enjoying today's show. For more clinical content and tips to help you implement this content in the real world, please visit thegotophysio.com for more information, including my 6-step patient adherence checklist, which you can download for free. And also there's more blog content that helps you implement this stuff in the real world. You'll also find links to my YouTube show, the Go-To Physio show, as well as lots of more information to help you become the go-to therapist, helping real patients get real results in the real world.
Now, good. I suppose what are the real life kind of implications of that, I suppose, and this is in terms of both like patient numbers and like financially, and also like just like job enjoyment and that kind of thing. Like what what are the real life implications? I suppose tell us your journey, because I know you've had a really good success over the last few months. And like, tell us your journey, like where you started in terms of like what you're like usually seeing on a week and that kind of thing, to where you are now.
Yeah, so like, I mean, again, started off with little or nothing, kind of doing house calls here and there as well, which isn't viable in the long term. But I a lot of the stuff, because I'm still, you know, haven't really advertised massively out there. I'm still trying to get my head around business aspects of things, which again, the mentorship covers a lot of business, which is great as well. So it's not just clinical skills, it's business skills. And then mainly a lot of the stuff, a lot of referrals is word of mouth now. It's patients referring on family, friends, and it's kind of snowballed from there a little bit. Less stress follows that, obviously. And don't get me wrong, there's going to be, like any business, you're going to have quieter times a year, particularly coming up to Christmas. But when you have the really busy times a year, you don't mind because you're wrecked.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but yeah, like that, it's a lot of it's being word of mouth. Again, so, and then just giving you that confidence and clarity. Once you can explain to someone what's going on, and you know the anatomy fairly well after that, they're kind of like, oh, right, okay, this makes sense. And then you can kind of tell them, well, it's been actually 10 years, it's not going to go away overnight. And we have to reverse this, and this. So it's brought me from 5 to 6 patients up to a lot higher, where some weeks I was hitting up near 30. So, and
Brilliant.
again, for a business starting off very, very 6-7 months in, I wasn't expecting that. So,
Yeah.
you know,
No, brilliant.
no, I also, don't get me wrong, I'm blessed on where I'm based and working for an established physio room's name. But to me, to be able to keep the standards to what the other guy Paddy has built over 5-6 years longer, that's a challenge. You know what I mean? So Paddy's top of his game. So it's quite daunting coming in and trying to rent and run a clinic under a brand that's already established. And so, to me, that was more important, that I could do that physio room's name justice as well. And again, I think a lot of what I learned in the mentorship has brought me to that standard where, you know, we're keeping the name out there now. It's going well. So
Yeah, just accelerate the learning curve, really. Yeah.
exactly. Learning curve's the issue there. It's you're going to hit massive bumps when you just start out in the industry and you're working for yourself, because like that, the old ways of thinking. And again, the learning curve is totally blown out of the water once you go through mentorship, which just gives you absolute learning. So yeah, definitely recommend
Cool.
it.
And I suppose then on the other side of that, obviously going from 5-6 clients a week to, you know, up to 30 clients a week comes with its own problems in terms of having to be a lot more disciplined and with your time and being able to, you know, not run over in your sessions because, you know, you're back to back all day. So I suppose, has the mentorship given you the tools to be able to deal with that?
Oh, definitely. I mean, you get a lot of experience as you get busier, obviously, and you're going to spot a lot of similar things coming in. But again, it's the testing and the mentorship, where even if you're kind of hemming and hawing, thinking I'm not really sure what's going on, once you know what the testing is and how muscles work together as kind of synergists and all that, and you can pinpoint the true stressor, and then it comes kind of clears the head, and you're like, okay, so this is where we need to start. This is why you're getting your symptoms, and blah blah blah. So you're literally, well, you're panicking, thinking, well, this could run over time, to more like, all right, no, we can get you in and out, and this is the plan of action we need to do for this week. It's possibly going to take so many sessions. We have to get you to such a level, and the person straight away goes, that makes sense. And the exercises, even the low level ones, are challenging. So, but they're doable. So when the client can be challenged but can actually do it and see the rewards, they definitely are so much happier leaving, and it makes more sense to you, and you can get people in and out within 45 minutes, and follow-up sessions half an hour. That's all it takes, because you're focusing on less hands-on and more kind of movement-based, which is, I mean, movement's medicine at the end of the day. So you can bring your sessions right down. So when you are busy, repeat sessions, we're just working on skill-based movements, and the person can then go off and have a bit of fun and learn them themselves, you know. We
Yeah,
also
and I
have
think,
a lot of equipment, which is great, because how many times have we all invested in bands and kettlebells and dumbbells? Like, great for the really higher progressions, but for the majority of the time, I haven't had to tell a patient to go buy a band or go do anything like that. and of course they're happy out then, you know. So
Yeah. Yeah, I suppose that just puts another obstacle into them doing the rehab. They need to get something to do it, and they need equipment to do it. It's another obstacle for them to adhere to it. And I suppose it's making it as easy as possible for them to stick to the exercise program.
and functional, keeping it back to tying it into their daily activities. So it's
Yeah.
been cornerstone in that sense, and shortening time of sessions and that definitely.
Yeah. No, I think as well, I think going back to like half an hour sessions and that, I think if you're pushing people enough, half an hour is enough. Like they're wrecked by the end of the half an hour, they've done enough. You've really, so it's not like them lying on the bed for half an hour massage. Like they've had enough by the time like 25 minutes comes around, you know, and it doesn't feel like you're wrapping the session up early. It's almost like naturally comes to a hole because they can't do anymore. You know, you've pushed them, they've got a bit of a sweat on, they're struggling a little bit. What's that?
They generally leave the place sweating like they've had a bit
Yeah.
of a and they feel better for it. I mean, they feel like they've done a lot, and like that, you're dead right with that. It's just half an hour is more than enough because the exercises are intense, and if you practice them yourself regularly, so you can actually show them, practice what you preach. There's not a day goes by that I don't demonstrate or do the exercise where I still feel it, and I can go and squat and other exercises, no problem. When you get doing the nitty gritty stuff, it's like, oh my god.
Yeah, that's it. It's putting people in the right position. It stresses them in the right ways, in a good way, but it's challenging, and it's waking up all the right issues that we want to wake up. So it's not once you get your coaching right, it's not necessarily that the exercise is intricate or difficult to perform. It's just when you get into that position, the nervous system wakes up, and it's just challenging in all the right ways. And yeah, I think if you can get that bit of the mentorship right, you're kind of flying in terms of sessions and in terms of timelines, because yeah, like half an hour is more than enough to kind of push people with those.
I've seen CrossFit athletes that are, you know, well able to snatch 100 plus kilo over their head, crumble to some of
Yeah.
the higher level exercises, and they absolutely love them because their lifts thereafter themselves have gone up then, you know.
Yeah.
The body is starting to learn to communicate and work as one, as opposed to relying too much in one area to overwork leading to injury and that. So even your higher level athletes are totally challenged, and they absolutely love it.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing is it's more coordination based rather than strength based. So you can have a massive bodybuilder and you can have a 55-year-old woman, and they're doing the same exercises, but both finding them equally as challenging, because you know it's not about putting as much load through it as we can. It's just putting something in a position where there's no choice now but to work, and just seeing what happens after that. And yeah, no, I think that's a good point. Now, cool. So, and I suppose going on from now, because obviously you've gone through the mentorship now, like what are your plans for the next 12 months? What are you focusing on at the moment? What are you planning for the next 12 months?
Yeah, so again, just continue to fine tune everything, because you know, we're constantly seeing different cases come in. A couple of cases that I wouldn't have thought, you know, this can happen, has come in and challenged me again. I've had the tools to be able to deal with it, but it's just fine tuning the skills now over the next 12 months, further trying to grow the business. I've good experience now of what I'm kind of seeing coming in, the kind of clientele I have. So now I know how to kind of devise better approaches to help them get back to where they need. And again, focus on business aspect of things myself as well. That's always a learning curve. And you know, don't have administration or anything to look after that. So marketing and things like that. Again, looking to learn more on that, and still learning off you guys. You guys are continuing to help me grow with that as well, which is great. Again, that's the four structures in place. Yeah, so again, just continue what I've learned, develop it, and further my skills that way.
No, brilliant.
Everything's set in now, I suppose, as opposed to going doing more courses to overwhelm. Just
exactly.
get on board and practice.
It's consolidating, isn't it? And just getting solid and building on that. And I think like you said, like I think a lot of people are trying to do what you're doing now and get business skills good and everything like that before they've actually done the basics right first. And I think getting the basics right first is going to get you up to the level where you're seeing at least 15, 20 clients a week. Then the business skills become important in terms of taking it to the next level. But, you know, in terms of getting from 5, 6 to 15, 20, I think that's more clinical skills, keeping people in for a full course of treatment, retention and word of mouth. I think, you know, rather than spending loads of time on marketing, I think a lot of people could just do it, nailing the clinical stuff first. And then, like you are now, once you've got to that stage, then it's looking at the other things afterwards.
Yeah, because I suppose most of us got into this field to help someone. So
yeah.
if you're not equipped to help someone or be able to kind of think outside the box, your business is never going to even grow. And I suppose I put, before business comes, I put my clients and all first. That's why I kind of got into this. And if you don't have that approach, well, then you're probably not going to succeed. So, yeah, biggest thing would be to focus on your clinical skills and get better at reading the body and helping people, and the rest will kind of follow. And like you said, and Shane, if you're too focused on business and marketing, it's not going to happen. It's not that kind of business anyway. It's not like we're Nike selling products. We're there to try and help people get back to function and live a better way of life. And again, you tend to think when you first start out, you have don't know if you were the same. I had about 101 courses that I wanted to do, neurology and everything, and that has dwindled to basically zero at this point, because everything I needed and wanted to learn is pretty much covered in the mentorship. Now there's other courses that I have to do, obviously for CPD, points yourself, included, continuous professional development every year. And so the likes of that, I get this year to pop over to the Therapy Expo in Birmingham to lectures and stuff like that. So you can spend more time sitting back and doing other things like that, as opposed to, all right, I have to spend loads on courses year in, year out and try and further my knowledge. And then you get really flustered with like too much information overload and you can't take anything on board. And the mentorship just covered it all in kind of one, which was happy out.
So, nice, yeah, good. Yeah, we're actually at that Therapy Expo, so we'll see you there.
Yeah, I'll see you there.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I think that's a good point as well. And I think like the best, like aside from the fact that we need the skills to help somebody, the best way to grow your business anyway is to get consistently good results. And if you get consistently good results, naturally the word of mouth is going to spread, and you're going to go from there. And I think that's definitely what we learned, because I mean we were the same. We started above a running shop, just one room, and definitely kind of organically, we were really lucky in a way, but organically it just grew, word of mouth. And then it got to the point, okay, now we're ready to take on somebody new. And, just putting the step-by-step system in place and, being different from all the physios around us, I suppose, allowed us to kind of grow fairly rapidly. And, then it got to a point then where you start to look at more businessy stuff. But I think the most important thing when you're starting out is just getting your clinical stuff really solid first. And I think that kind of searching, because I was like that as well, searching for the next course. Well, like that's a symptom of a lack of clarity. You're missing something and you don't know what it is. So, okay, let's try this course. I think when you get that clarity in your head, not that you stop doing courses, but you're doing courses that genuinely interest you for a certain reason, rather than just trying to hit every course because you think you're missing something in your assessment. I think that's a good point.
That's the point I think that is key, to try not get caught up in. And because still to this day, it doesn't matter, like a human coming in the door as an individual, just because you presented the same signs and symptoms as the previous case does not mean that it's the same issue. And so that was my biggest thing, is to find a course that could teach me that and be able to educate the person, because there's no magic cure. And if you can get across to your client that, unfortunately they have to do the hard work at the end of the day, then they'll get the results. So it's managing that. Like, yeah, you're always going to have people that don't put in the work and don't yield the results. But I have to say, they're probably 95% of the time people get the results, because they do the hard work, and you can educate them and show them and bring them through step-by-step progress. And then it comes back to you in that sense, you know what I mean? So definitely, my advice to people out there is, if you're looking for a course, try contact you guys and get a bit of information about the mentorship. And then from there on, go that way if you want, or whatever they feel like then. But definitely most of what you're looking for is in the course, which is great.
No, perfect. No, I think I agree with everything you said. And it's been really good seeing your journey, Leon. I think I'm excited to see really how Physio Rooms gets on now in the next kind of few months, because I think it's you're growing kind of yourselves now fairly rapidly, and it's kind of it's exciting times.
Yeah, definitely.
Not cool. No, cheers for coming on, Leon. So
for having us, definitely. And I'll see you at Birmingham, I suppose, yeah?
Yeah, we'll see you there, yeah.
Right, cool. Thanks a million, Shane.
Okay, so thank you very much to Leon, and thanks to Shane for asking the questions there. And just a few points when I listened to Leon's story that I picked up that I just want to recap and go through today. And the two things that Leon was looking for. So everybody that comes on the mentorship, before they actually come on, we get them to fill an application to see what they're actually looking for. Now, I do that to generally make sure that I can help you. If I don't think the mentorship's the right fit for you, then unfortunately you wouldn't be inside the community. So it's not just a case of, right, anybody can come in. You have to be the right fit. You have to have an open mind, and you have to have a genuine hunger for helping people get long-lasting results. Because I said, anyone can, do all these tips and tricks to get more patients in, but the big difference that I want the Go-To Therapist Mentorship to be in is authenticity, and that is, you heard with Leon, where the majority of his business growth has become from word of mouth referrals. Okay, and again, a big thing with word of mouth referrals, which is an episode in itself, is you have to be authentic, you have to be genuine. Okay, and once you have that confidence and clarity, which Leon now has, that's what allows you to get the word of mouth referrals. Because if he doesn't have the confidence and clarity, he's not going to explain it well. The patient's not going to understand. They're not going to get adherence. They're not going to buy in, do the work, and get the results. Okay, so again, there's a lot to be said for that. The other big thing for Leon was explaining pain science practically, and the ability to give the patient an answer. And that's how we set up the Go-To Therapist Mentorship. We keep things very simple with our movements. We're not getting people to do a movement just for the sake of it. If you say touch your toes, if you say backward bend, if you say reach your hand down the side, if you ask them to do something on the bed, we have a genuine understanding, and we can make sense of what the person is reporting back to us. Okay, so the subjective response to that: are you getting any pain? Where do you feel it? What point do you get the pain? We cross-reference, we link their subjective also with the biomechanical model, and we take an appreciation of that person's story to make sense of their symptoms. Okay, so that's what Leon was talking about there, the ability to give an answer. But to be able to give an answer, you have to have confidence and clarity in your assessment, and you need to be able to make sense of the subjective and objective findings, which obviously Leon is doing a great job with now. Okay. Another key point that he touched on today was giving people or patients feelings of empowerment and resilience. So a lot of these people, he mentioned hopping. A lot of these people don't think they can do this again. What they think, okay, has a big impact on how they feel, has a big impact on how they behave. Okay, so obviously the pain science, we're trying to influence their thoughts, their belief system, but a lot of the movements that we're doing, okay, we're making them feel good again. Okay, so again, we follow the principles of the mentorship, the 6 steps of deliberate practice. We can get them feeling great, which can have a big impact in how they behave. Okay, so again, thoughts, how you think is how you feel, is how you behave. Okay, so again, it's a big one. As I said, the pain science thing goes after the thought process a lot, which has an impact on how people feel and how people behave. The rehab process, the movement side of it that we use in the mentorship, has a big impact on the feelings, which then probably updates the belief system, which is going to hopefully impact their behavior as well. And then we go back to the confidence and clarity. The other key points I wrote down for Leon's story was the ability to test, retest, and get clarity when you have only that 30 minutes. Okay, so again, if you've only got 30 minutes for a follow-up session, you've someone else coming in half an hour, it's not overcomplicating it. And Leon talked a lot about that today. It's the ability to keep things simple. Okay, and in the words of a rugby player who this was kind of a team in Japan, he came out with a phrase which made me laugh, and we kind of ended up saying it pretty much every day, is keeping the main thing the main thing. Okay, so again, I know he obviously didn't come up with that, but he reminded me of that quote of, keeping the main thing, not overcomplicating things. And again, we know where the patient wants to get back to. We have that graded exposure program in place from session 1, and it's just about going through the different KPIs and the tests that we use in the mentorship. They're very simple, but they just allow us to stay on track. Okay, so that's very important. And the nice thing about all of this, and I love when Leon says this, because it's the exact same experience that I get, is when you explain things to the patient, the thing that they will say is that makes sense. And a big part of that is because what we're doing is so specific to their needs and it's specific to their story. Okay, so when you're explaining, you're not just giving a one-size-fits-all pain science explanation, you're making it specific to their story, and I think that's very, very important as well. Okay, so that's it for this week. Thank you to Leon, thank you to Shane. I think there's a lot of key points in that episode, and there's a lot of things there to hopefully make you reflect on your current practice. And as I said, look, this isn't the only way to do things, but certainly there's a lot there to make you look at your own practice and see if there's bits that you could put into yours to improve your own system. Obviously, if you're interested in more information about the mentorship, then head over to www.thegotophysio.com and you'll see a link there for the mentorship. Okay, there's also more resources on the blog. If you'd rather read or look through some of the show notes from this episode, head over to www.thegotophysio.com/blog and you'll see the show notes there as well from this episode and the key kind of clinical points there to help you. Okay, so that's it for this episode. Next week, what I want to talk about is a very important topic, and I want to chat to a therapist as well about that and get his thoughts, and that is feeling the need to do an hour to 2 hours per session with patients. Okay, and this therapist, when I spoke to him initially, he felt that he needed to do these 2-hour sessions. Okay, and that to me is screaming that we just need to clean up the subjective. We have to ask better high-level questions. We need to have clarity in the assessment, and if you can do that, then you can not necessarily need that 2 hours. And again, there's nothing wrong with doing 2-hour sessions, and I've had to do them sometimes with a couple of complex patients with a few outliers that have needed the time. But the one thing I would say is it's not a very sustainable way to grow private practice. Okay. So more on that in next week's episode, and I will see you then. I hope you enjoyed the show. Once again, thank you for listening. Thank you for your open-mindedness, and I'll see you on the next episode. Hey, I hope you enjoyed today's show. For more information, please visit www.thegotophysio.com, where you can download my 6-step patient adherence checklist absolutely free, as well as read the accompanying blog that goes with today's episode. We've got lots of cheat sheets and clinical content to help you implement to get real world results with real patients that ultimately helps you become the go-to therapist and allows you to build a profitable, busy private practice or become that go-to therapist in professional sport. I'll speak to you soon on the next episode.